In this first part of the presentation on dispelling the common law marriage myth, we're focusing on some issues related to babies and children. Specifically, we're going to look at registering a baby's birth and parental responsibility. Both of these terms will be explained shortly, and how these differ depending on whether a couple are married or cohabiting. The first obvious question to ask is, does a couple's relationship status really make any difference when it comes to registering a baby's birth and parental responsibility? Does it matter whether you're married or cohabiting, often thought of as common law marriage? The answer is yes. Whether a couple are married or cohabiting really does make a difference when you're registering a baby's birth and to parental responsibility. It's useful to look at why the type of relationship that a couple has makes such a difference. The difference stems from the legal status attached to the couple's relationship. Marriages and civil partnerships are legally recognised relationships, and many rights flow from this legal recognition. For example, the Marriage Act 1945 regulates aspects of marriage in England and Wales, and the Civil Partnership Act 2004 granted civil partnerships to same-sex couples in the United Kingdom, with rights and responsibilities identical to civil marriage. In 2013, Parliament passed the Marriage Same-Sex Couples Act, which introduced civil marriage for same-sex couples in England and Wales. In contrast, cohabitation has no general legal status, and as a consequence, fewer rights. In this presentation, we'll focus on opposite-sex couples and the differences that arise regarding registering a baby's birth and parental responsibility when an opposite-sex couple are either married or cohabiting. This is because the law for opposite-sex couples is more straightforward. As we've seen, same-sex relationships are legally recognised both in the form of civil partnerships and marriage. However, legislation relating to registering a baby's birth and parental responsibility can be more complicated for same-sex couples, both male and females. We've addressed some of these issues in our information leaflet, Dispelling the Common Law Marriage Myth, Registering Your Baby's Birth and Parental Responsibility, which complements this presentation and gives more detailed information. The leaflet also lists sources of further information which are relevant for same-sex couples. As we noted earlier, your relationship status, whether you are married or cohabiting, affects how you register a baby's birth. Registering a baby's birth is the process which results in the registrar providing a birth certificate for the baby. This birth certificate is needed at many points throughout a child's life, for example to enrol in school, to apply for a passport, and as a form of ID, for example when applying for a job. Now let's look at the differences when a married couple or a cohabiting couple want to register the birth of their baby. Firstly, let's look at who can register the baby's birth. When a couple are married, then either the mother or father can register the baby's birth on their own. When a couple are cohabiting, only the mother can register the baby's birth unless the parents take positive steps. For example, the father can register the baby's birth himself if the mother has made a statutory declaration acknowledging him as the father of the child, or if he brings a court order. Secondly, let's look at whose details are automatically recorded on the baby's birth certificate. If the couple are married, then details of both the mother and the father are recorded automatically. In contrast, where a couple are cohabiting, then the father's details will only be included when both parents sign the birth register together. Finally, let's look at who the law assumes the baby's father is. Where a couple are married, then the law assumes that the mother's husband is the baby's father. When a couple are cohabiting, then no assumptions about the identity of the baby's father are made. Whether or not the father's details are included on the birth certificate is very important for parental responsibility, which we'll look at next. Your relationship status, whether you are married or cohabiting, can also affect who has parental responsibility. Parental responsibility, often abbreviated to PR, is a legal term defined in the Children's Act 1989 as all the rights, duties, powers, responsibilities and authorities which by law a parent of a child has in relation to the child and his property. Parents who have PR have a legal right to be involved in important decisions affecting the child, such as where the child lives and goes to school and what religion the child can practice, as well as big decisions like taking the child out of the country. Let's look at who has parental responsibility and how this differs depending on whether a couple are married or cohabiting. Where a baby's parents are married, then both parents automatically have parental responsibility. In contrast, where the baby's parents cohabit, then in some circumstances only the mother automatically has parental responsibility. Since the 1st of December 2003, fathers who are named on the baby's birth certificate automatically have parental responsibility. This is one reason why it's so important for the father to be involved in registering his baby's birth if he is not married to the baby's mother. For cohabiting couples, where the baby's birth was registered before 1st of December 2003, the father may not automatically have parental responsibility. It is possible for the father to obtain parental responsibility, but he must take positive steps for this to happen. For example, he can apply to re-register the birth with the mother's agreement, or apply for a court order or agreement. In summary, many couples assume that when it comes to registering a baby's birth and their parental rights, that it will make no difference whether they are married or cohabiting. This is not so. Take care, because your relationship status, whether you are married or cohabiting, has a significant effect when it comes to register a baby's birth, and it can also affect who has parental responsibility. This is another area where the myth of common law marriage is precisely that, a myth. Cohabiting, often known as common law marriage, has no general legal status and in consequence lacks some of the rights that flow from a legally recognised relationship.